Whew. Hello, greetings from the greater Soledad Canyon vicinity. Came out here today to do a little hike, get the dogs some exercise, and I wanted to try something a little different today. I wanted to make a video, which I've never really done before. I'm hoping the sound-wise you guys can hear me. There's a plane flying overhead. You got the freeway right here. But, let's just get right to the point, Recently, there's been it's nothing that we haven't seen before, but there's been some criticism of some of the newer young herpetologists, mostly the guys on Instagram, some of the guys making YouTube videos. I've seen a little bit of criticism. I've heard a little bit of criticism too, but there's been things that have been, obviously, I'm sure some of you that might be watching now might be aware, just the things that have been posted recently. It's not a lot. It's nothing. It's not like it's some big issue, but there's a little bit of negativity and criticism that I'm seeing, and then some stuff that's just kind of downright mean. All in reference to some of the younger generation, some of what they call the Instagram herpers, herpetologists, the YouTube guys. What's this criticism we're seeing? People are kind of, they're assuming what people's motivations are. It's like people are out here, they're out there just to get likes. They're out there just to get clicks. They're out there chasing something, chasing some clout. They're out there for the wrong reasons. They're following to spots that other people discovered, or they're going to all the common spots, and they're not out there exploring and this and that. Obviously, a lot of that criticism is perfectly founded. Obviously, I'm right there in that camp. Where we're always kind of critiquing and, we're always trying, at least I am, trying to steer the next generation and just kind of, just overseeing. Everybody's looking, right? You guys that are posting on YouTube, you guys that are doing a lot of Instagram, the guys that are out every day and chasing down finds in the field, posting pictures. We're watching everything you're doing, and we're kind of trying to make sense of what people are doing out there. And then it's like I said, some of the criticism's been like just kind of downright mean, just immature, mean. You're talking to people that you don't know. I don't know people, a lot of people I don't know, I've never met before, and so where am I going with this? I think we're all kind of out there looking for likes and clicks, and whether you're posting something online or and I'm just going to throw this name out there. It's not a critique to Paul. It's actually a compliment. Or if you're like, let's say Paul Lynham, one of the most accomplished field herpers, and you don't post anything. You very rarely share anything. You're the most tight-lipped about everything. I know for a fact you're still, when you find things, you're still, you're still picking up the phone and telling a couple people about it, or you're still, the reason you're out in the field, the part of the reason that's driving you to go to new localities, to go discover new spots, to go do that harder herpetology, it's all essentially for likes and clicks and clout and respect and to gain status. It's all for a similar reason, similar category, whether you're from the previous to the internet generation, or I still think we're all out here kind of doing it for the same reason. You guys might have, I don't know, some of you guys might have seen on a certain page, I got into it with another longtime herpetologist, guy that's been doing it a few years longer than I have. And I was kind of jumping in, trying to defend, the crew that this guy was bagging on, And I thought I brought up some pretty good points. I thought the whole point of, well, gee, he went and visited one of my spots that I discovered and then proceeded to talk shit about me. So he pretty much, his whole rant, it was like, that was a pretty good thing to kind of throw back in his face. And I actually have respect for that gentleman. As much as I have butted heads with certain people. And the point I think a lot of people should really remember is we all don't know each other. Unless you know each other, unless you've been out on multiple trips, spent multiple outings together, we don't know each other. We know each other through the internet. We might know. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's quite a few of us that we have our whole lives into this, into herpetology. We really do. I mean, I know I do. I've got over 20 years. I'm not married. I've never had kids. So let's just say I've spent a lot of time in the field. Doesn't necessarily mean I've found as much as other guys or made as many breakthrough herpetological finds as other guys, but I've found a few things over my years. A blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. If you get out there and put the time in and you're in the right place, right time. And those are great things. That's, to me, is that is the finer side of herping, is getting off the beaten path, getting away from where other people have been. Finding something in a new mountain range is like the best, but even just finding something in a new hill, a new canyon, anything like that is, to me, that's the cream of the crop. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that. And I also wanted to kind of let some of these guys know, these guys know who they are. Some of them I've communicated with, some of them I've talked on the phone a few times, and I see what some of these guys are doing, and I respect it, whether they're out discovering new localities or where exactly they're going. And I'm sure a lot of these guys are out looking for their own spots, or they're certainly finding their own rock piles and hills. I don't think they're having their hands held directly to these animals, right? And I do see what some of these guys are doing. Just to let all of you guys know, just to validate. I see it. I'm watching. I like the stoke. I remember watching a couple young gentlemen. I think it was earlier this year. They flipped a Ransburg boa, and I saw that. I heard the stoke in their voice, and it immediately brought me back to when I was like 21, 22 years old, and out there, finding certain things for the first time. And that's badass. That's really what herping is all about. In the end, whether you're looking for a new locality, whether you're out hunting Whitewater Canyon for the night, herping is about just getting out of your house, getting out of the city, get off your ass, get some exercise. I'm seeing some of these guys, you're out there with your buddies, you're out there with your girlfriends. Some of you guys got Toyota trucks, and you're out there blazing across the desert with spotlights and doing all that stuff that we used to do. And I actually like seeing it. And I think some of these guys could do a little more acknowledging. I'm talking about the senior guys now, the guys that have been doing it 20, 30 years longer than I have too, and people in my category. I think we could give a little more acknowledgement, hit like on something every once in a while, rather than just kind of lurking on following someone lurker style, and then you come in all of a sudden like 2 years later with like an insult, and you've been following their page the whole time, looking at everything they found, but you never once hit like, you never acknowledged, and the only thing you did was you criticized at some point. And the whole point that some of these guys, and I'm not here to defend anyone. I'm not assuming that anyone needs to be defended. I'm sure you guys have a much thicker skin than I do. But I think we're all looking for a little just encouragement and stuff like that, and acknowledgement. And obviously the things that people are worried about, if we have people poaching animals, we have people over collecting, We have people destroying the rocks. I'm the first one, and people know I'll be the first one to be in that gang beatdown on somebody that's really doing some damage to herpetology, really doing some damage to the animals, the habitat. I'll be the first one. And everybody knows, people that know me, they know I've clashed with a lot of people. I've been immature in the past. I've been overzealous. When I first found certain things, this was 15 plus years ago, when I was, in my mid 20s, and I was all jazzed up and I was overconfident, and I'd made my first discoveries, and there was other things, where I got into it with people. People were, I remember there was one guy, and I'm really good friends with him now. I haven't hung out with him in a while, but it was like somebody posted some boas from up here before I got to post boas, and I got into a big thing with him on the locality forum. And I've been in tons of arguments with people. I've been immature. I've been stupid. I've had a big head. And of course, everybody knows my politics too. I decided to speak out about politics. I had my own opinion on things. And I decided to speak out. And obviously a lot of herpetologists, a lot of biologists, naturalists, let's just say people skew a little more towards the liberal side. They're more left to center. That's fine. I made a bit of a stand. I said some things. I don't think I said anything, horrible. I never directly attacked anyone, where there was maybe that one time, right? But I've had a lot of fallout the last few years. I've had people that have walked away from me, people that I don't talk to anymore. And why am I bringing up politics in a herping conversation? Well, politics kind of have to do with everything. Like, how does it have to do with herping? Well, maybe you guys should look up the fact that they've just, the California Supreme Court judge a couple of weeks ago, or it was about 3 weeks ago, just recently closed down basically most of the Mojave Desert. You can start there. I'm hoping right now it's mostly for like dirt bikes and side-by-sides and quads, but let's just face it, you guys can take my word for it. The leadership of California does not want you out exploring the desert and driving four-wheel drives and penetrating into the interior of the desert and doing what we do. They don't want us out there doing that. And you can take my word for that, whether you believe me or not. But that's it. We'll drop the politics. But it's just to give you guys a little background of where I've been, where I'm at now. So what's the purpose of making this video? The reason I'm making this video is exactly what I told one of these guys that was, he was more criticizing in a friendly way, right? Which I told Paul, I said, why don't you pick out a couple of the more promising guys and message them and, offer some encouragement, and, in time you can steer people, you can develop your foot soldiers, because he's wondering why nobody's out looking for new localities, why everybody just goes to the same old spots, and he thinks it's all click and like driven, and it's all people are out there just chasing YouTube views. And I really don't think that's the case. I think most people love to herp just like me and Paul and Jeff Teal and other people do. I just think the newer guys, the younger guys, they're bringing cameras out and they're trying to film and make something out of it. And so far, I have not seen too much evidence of people blowing things up, showing the habitat, giving away the spot. Supposedly, most of these people are not collecting. It's not illegal to collect in a lot of places though either. So, and it's kind of the hypocrisy, right? It's kind of the hypocrisy. Like, all of these other guys are out there collecting. Most of the old school guys, they're looking for specific things, and they are the collectors. There's just some hypocrisy that you kind of see, because we're all essentially kind of doing the same thing out there, and as long as there is no harm, then there's no foul. So why am I making the video? Of course, it's about to get dark here, so I'll wrap this up. But we're sitting here in some habitat here. This is Soledad adjacent. I don't know if this really looks like there's boas here. They're probably in here somewhere. The habitat in this area, in the Soledad Pass area, Santa Clarita Valley, it's very sporadic. You can have sections where there's some really good habitat, some rock slides, some structural rock. That's what these San Gabriel boas do, right? They hone in on certain areas, because the San Gabriel habitat is very it's very imperfect. It's goes from very good to very subprime, from Lytle Creek all the way over to here. And basically, like I said, the reason I'm making the video, I'm reaching out. I'm always open to people hitting me up. I'm always here to answer questions, to point people in the right direction. Not here to give it all away. I'm not here to teach people how to hunt rock slides and show people all the goods on day one and just hand people and I don't think people want to be handed everything. But I'm actually here to be a community member, and I've always appreciated people reaching out, and especially when people are humble and we show respect to each other. And if you're a younger guy, if you've been doing this like 5 years, 10 years, and you got a guy that's been doing it 20 or 30 years, you might want to make sure that you're a little more humble. And I know with the internet generation, with all the information that's out there, people are able to figure this stuff out really quicker than you were 20 years ago. And I think a lot of the newer guys kind of just assume that everybody just knows everything already, or whatever people are assuming. But there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle out there. I'm a rosy boa guy, and a Los Angeles urban king snake guy, and I've got a lot of time in the field looking for things that are hard to find. And I'm not opposed to if there's a couple of younger herpers that have more energy than I, people that have more time, but mainly people that are fired up and passionate about herping and are really all about it and have that lifetime dedication. And it's going to be first come, first serve. I'm not taking on 4 or 5 guys at a time. I'll take on 1 or 2 guys at a time. You guys hit me up. You got any questions about hunting this area? We could use extra people hunting this fucking area. Boas are hard as shit to find up here. Soledad, if you know the right spot, they're still hard as fucking shit to find, but they're a little easier in certain places. But there's rosy boas in what we call the Sierra Pelona Liebre complex, just this direction. And there are proven rosy boas from about Rower Flat, Bouquet Canyon, all the way over to Castaic. And there's very little information about them. There's very few that have been found. There's new locality stuff, new discovery stuff right outside of Los Angeles, right here in Los Angeles County. And it's not the kind of thing where keeping it secret your whole life and trying to keep everybody out and gatekeep, it's just going to result in these mysteries never being solved. We actually could use a couple more guys in certain areas. And I'm not speaking for Alterna land. I'm not speaking for places out in the middle of the desert, other things that might be a little more sensitive. But in a general sense, we should not be afraid to kind of reach out to our mentors, which is something that has always benefited me. Here it is getting dark, but I'll finish this up. It's like, and people come from different camps, right? People come from different schools, right? If you went to the Bob Montoya Rosy Boa school, obviously that's a little different than what I went to, right? I went to the Bill Townsend Rosy Boa school. I've spent a couple days in the field with Brian Hines, may he rest in peace. Believe it or not, Brian Hubbs knows how to find frickin' rosy boas. But just herping in general, that's the school I come from. And I kind of come from my own school. I've kind of created some of my own thoughts and my own knowledge. And So just to wrap this up, we see what you guys are doing. I'm stoked on most of it. You know, we'll name a few names even, like just so we're totally clear. Ryan Marin, Henry, Herping Henry, you know, a few other guys. We'll just leave it there. But there's a few guys that I have watched some of their videos. I've kind of gotten a gist of what their attitude seems to be like from their videos. These seem like good guys, and you know, me and Ryan we had a little clashing. We've talked on the phone a few times, and I've tried to steer him into going and looking for new stuff, and he maybe, you know, I don't know exactly how he took the whole thing, because it's not like we're not critiquing. That's the thing I'm trying to explain from my perspective. I'm seeing guys that are spending countless hours out in the field. They're putting gas money, they're putting a lot of time, and these guys are capable. So I'm just trying to steer people, you know, into spending like 1 out of your 4 days of your trip maybe looking for a new spot. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. But my whole point is, you guys reach out. You guys know who you are. First come, first serve. I'm only taking on like 1 or 2 people at a time if you want to get out in the field with me. I'm not taking anybody straight to all the best, you know, spots. We'll start out at some other spots, and we'll creep in on it. So anyway, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoy. I haven't posted on these different forums in a long time. I'm going to start posting a little more. I'm going to share a few pictures of some things I found this year. And I hope you guys, we can all be stoked on herping together. And, you know, that's the video for you guys. So, till next time, take her easy.